I would expect the stock market to not take this news exactly positively, but it does make sense given the layoffs that Elon Musk is trying to initiate, that some people also would just resign voluntarily. The head of product launches at Tesla is leaving the company after 7 years following the firing of the entire supercharging team, which negatively impacted morale. Among those that perhaps weren't completely all in with Tesla, but those that are deeply committed to Tesla, I don't think morale went down with them. If anything, they got even more urgency to make sure they're doing their part. And specifically in that post, Tesla's former head of product launches says it's hard to see the long game. But think about this. Sounds a lot like all in on autonomy. It's also interesting that he's leaving before Tesla is going to unveil a new product on August 8th, which in the long term could easily be the most consequential product from Tesla so far. And I think this makes a lot of sense. I've worked in large corporate environments for a long time, and one thing I learned is you don't burn bridges when you leave. He is definitely burning a bridge in the way he is going. Leaving and publicly criticizing the former employer speaks much of one's character. James agrees it's not a good look for him. I also saw this rumor about why the supercharger team was laid off. I have nothing to substantiate this with, and it's just someone's opinion, it seems, so I'm not going to read it, but if you do want to pause and read, feel free to pause and read, but I have nothing to confirm this rumor, so be very careful with interpreting this rumor like it's written here. And check this out. Xiaomi co-founder tested Tesla's FSD 2 weeks ago, and now he bought a new Model Y to continue testing it. There's no need for high-precision maps and no LiDAR. It's completely based on pure visual modeling. FSD feels like a human driver. I assume he has a house or place to live in the US, and he bought it in the US, not in China. Elon also just liked this post. I think Elon is pivoting Tesla from selling cars to selling rides, and the resulting value creation will be unlike anything the world has ever seen before. Sawyer is right, removing the nag is a bigger deal than most realize. Omar says people are starting to get it. So if the steering wheel nag is disappearing from FSD 12.4 onwards, does it remain in place with basic autopilot? I'm assuming it does. This may be another big compelling reason to subscribe to FSD or buy it, with something that really differentiates it from basic autopilot. I think it's important to take a step back and just soak everything in. There has been a lot happening in the last few weeks and few months. We are having a massive moment with Tesla's FSD progress right now, yet so few people have any idea that it's even happening unless you got FSD on your vehicle and you experienced it yourself and you experienced the fast progress. FSD V12 was such a huge step change forward. 1.8 million Teslas got a free 30-day FSD trial. Tesla's fleet is now doing 1 billion FSD miles every 2 to 3 months versus 1 billion every 3 years. The steering wheel nag is about to disappear. Tesla is finally no longer compute constrained, allowing them to improve FSD much quicker. The company's compute capacity will increase at least 6 times this year. There's preliminary approval to launch FSD supervised in China, and recently a regulator who was given an FSD ride in Europe was really impressed. These are exciting times, and looking back to this time, it will be obvious that it has been a huge buying opportunity this whole time. It doesn't mean we will not go lower from here, but I believe we will see another major run. And if you look back at 2019, I mean, can you even tell that the stock actually dropped roughly 50% for some period of time? No, you can't even see it because the stock went up so much. So whether you bought the stock right here, then it was quite a bit higher at $23 per share, or somewhere down there for $12 per share, you're happy either way. Of course, you're happier if you bought it at $12, but if you bought it at $22, you're still really thrilled. And think about it, Tesla FSD V12.4 likely to be the first hands-free driver assistance system on city streets with no nag. This feature should be available in all cars with Tesla's FSD hardware 3 or later hardware versions, meaning an 8-year-old Tesla will be capable of hands-free driving almost anywhere with an over-the-air update. Now, GM and Ford offer hands-free driving on select highways, and Mercedes offers hands and eyes-off driving in select highways with very strict conditions being met. No other car maker is offering hands-free driving on city streets. And so far, the V12 release has been quite consequential, but I think Farzad is likely to be right here, although we'll find out. So I'm trying to keep my expectations slightly lower here, but Farzad does say V12.4 might be the most consequential update yet. And I think it actually, when you think about it, just for the reason that you will no longer have the nag, I think it is pretty fair to say that it will be a very consequential update. Morgan Stanley has a new note out. Should Tesla's ongoing restructuring actions be a lesson for other auto companies? Probably yes. Not probably yes. Definitely yes. Except they can't exactly take all of their money and then dump the money into AI because they don't have CEOs that have tremendous experience with AI. Remember that Elon Musk built Grok in a pretty short period of time when people said, oh, what does Elon Musk know about large language models? Well, he knows how to make one. But these other automakers, I mean, even if they invested a lot of money in AI, would it really be productive? Or would it just go to waste? Probably it would just go to waste. As Tesla continues to shift incremental capex away from the automotive side of the house and towards the data/computing/learning/robotics side of the house, we see a real chance that the broader industry, legacy players and EV startups alike, will follow. So expect a lot of wasted money. Argo AI wasted billions, which was backed by Ford and Volkswagen. Hyundai invested $500 million into this Motional, but employees have been laid off and the plans to commercialize have been postponed. So these companies are in this terrible situation where if they try to spend money on AI, something that they have no clue about and how to do, they spend it, they waste it. They don't do it, they will be consumed by this next AI revolution in FSD. With the EV transition, they should have invested earlier and they should have done that sooner because you can sort of, I mean, it's very difficult to do, but you can sort of do it with FSD. AI, it's a whole different thing. Unless you have a man who runs your company who has a track record of doing the impossible over and over and over again, don't bother. Because even for that man, it's really hard to do. And on top of having such a fantastic track record of doing the impossible multiple times, on top of that, he is spending $10 billion a year to solve this problem. So if you're not spending that much, how are you ever going to catch up with him? I'm not telling these companies to give up, but I mean, I respect them trying it. I just don't see how it works out for them. Stephen Mark Ryan just updated his Tesla stock valuation model, and 2024 is here. This is the price of Tesla stock. He didn't include numbers. He does include them on Patreon, but this is what he thinks Tesla stock is going to do. So judging by this, in 20 years, that's definitely a lot more than just 20x or even 30x. He doesn't publish the numbers beyond 2034, by the way, but you can see what he thinks is going to happen. No wonder he has taken out mortgages to buy more Tesla stock earlier.